What's up YouTube? Brian here, back again with another video, and today we're going to be doing a video that I think is kind of a dumb video, because if you're out there shopping for NRX rods, you really only have one choice if you go to the store, which is the NRX Plus. So it's kind of weird to go, what's better, the NRX Plus or the old NRX? So this is kind of like a niche video because you're looking at NRXs, but it's even nicher because who's this video for? So this video is kind of for people who are looking at the used market and are wondering if they should just save a few bucks and get the old NRXs, because they've been, the NRX has been a platform that's been out for, like a decade. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of rods, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, who knows how many there are out there, but there's a lot of NRXs out there on the used market. So this video is like, do I go and spend money and just get the used ones, the old version, or I break out the checkbook and get the NRX Plus? So that's one person I think this video appeals to. And I think the other type of person is someone who owns a bunch of NRXs and they're like, should I go out and get the NRX Plus? Is it a worthwhile upgrade? So I think that's kind of who this video is aimed at. Or just, you fishing gear degenerates out there who just want to watch stuff like this for no reason whatsoever. But anyway, so I have had the NRX Plus in my arsenal since they came out. I grabbed the 872S. I got an 873C, and then I have an 852S as well. So I have three NRX Pluses. And I have the exact same version of the old NRX. So all three, I have both the regular NRX that's been out for years and the Plus. So I've had side-by-side comparisons on three key models in the Gloomis NRX lineup. So I'm going to talk about like my impressions of the new versions versus the old. That's what we're talking about today. That's all we're going to talk about. So anyway. So first off, I'm going to talk about the spinning rods because that's what I have in my hand. I'm going to go over like pros, cons, and that's it, right? So now, as we all know, the NRX reboot to the NRX Plus was basically Gloomis got to go and raid the parts bin from Shimano. So, Shimano owns Gloomis from a pipeline and product development standpoint. It's probably a lot easier for them to go and to use Shimano's technology and Shimano's parts bin and Shimano's supply chain to go get stuff for their line versus R&Ding it themselves, right? Like, why R&D something when you have Shimano that you can lean on and bring over their technology into your rod? So that's kind of what they did. So on the plus side, they added, this is the biggest plus on the spinning rods, hands down, is they brought over the grips that they designed for the Conquest. So this is the exact same parts. This grip is the exact same grip that's on a Conquest. So they took the Conquest grips, brought them over to the NRX Plus. Big plus in my opinion. Not that the grips on the old, not that the handle grips on the old NRX was bad. Actually, I like this. It was perfectly fine. It's kind of no frills. But the NRX Plus version is much nicer. It's a little more. It feels better in the hand. The cork goes up higher. It's contoured. I love my Conquest 842S spinning rod because of the grip, and now I got that amazing grip in the NRX Plus. So huge plus. So if you're looking at spinning rods, and as we all know, NRX are some of the best spinning rods on earth, hands down. If you're a spinning rod nerd and you haven't tried NRX spinning rods, you're kind of not really touching the Mount Rushmore of spinning rods because they are that good. Anyway, point is, if you're looking at NRX Pluses, I feel that the spinning rods, because of just the handle upgrades alone, is almost a compelling reason to go get the Plus. Now, the other technology that the Gloomis added to these rods is the Spiral X. So the Spiral X tech in the NRX Plus. Now I'm not gonna go over what it is. Go ahead and Google it, look it up, look at all the Shimano promo videos out there and all the pro staff people talking about it, blah, blah, blah. In real life, what the Spiral X does to this rod versus this rod is it makes this rod two things: slightly more rigid. When you bend this rod next to this rod, the old NRX is mildly softer. It's a really small difference, but this is a little stiffer. Also, the rebound is a little faster on the NRX Plus with the Spiral X. So you're basically getting a slightly more stiffer, rigid rod, and when you bend it and it pops back, it gets to stiff. Like, it stops recoiling a little quicker. So that makes the NRX Plus a little faster, a little more extra fast, whatever you want to call that. But the point is, in real life, that's the only time you notice this, is it's a little more little teeny more stiffer than this guy. I went out and threw these rods. I threw paddle tail swim baits on bald head jigs. I threw Ned rigs. I threw shaky heads. I threw swivel heads. I threw a bunch of stuff on these NRX Plus versus the old one and the new one. On the water, not that much different. I mean, both of them are great. Casting distance, both of them cast about the same. Honestly, like, it's not a giant night and day upgrade outside of the handle. If you're just talking about on the water performance of the rod, they're basically the same. I mean, there's not a big leap in sensitivity or functionality or anything from the old NRX to the NRX Plus and the spinning models. Whatever, it is what it is. Balance-wise, the spinning rods kind of pretty much balance the same. With the new handles, they didn't really change the balance points or anything. And honestly, the spinning rods on the NRXs, I've always balanced pretty well. So overall, I'd say if you're in the market, don't worry about going after the older NRX spinning rods because they're great. Some of the best spinning rods ever made. The handle is a nice upgrade if you want to spring for the extra bucks. The Spiral X is meh. I honestly don't really care that much that the Spiral X is in there. I don't think on the water it matters all that much, especially like when you compare the two side by side. I mean, if you're just starting an NRX and you go to NRX Plus, you might be like, oh, these are amazing. But if you've had a lot of seat time with the old ones and you switch to the new ones, it's not going to blow your hair back. Weight savings. Let's talk about that real quick. Got to touch on that. So Loomis was like, oh, the new NRXs are just way, they're lighter than the older NRXs. On paper, yes. This is the 852S that I'm holding. So this is the old 852S. This is 3.4 ounces. This is the new 852S. The old one is 3.5 ounces and the new one is 3.4. So 0.1 ounce difference between the new and the old. Technically, that is a weight savings, but in your hand, you can't tell the difference, whatever. So on paper, they can say made them significantly lighter, but on the scale, it's, 3.5, 3.4, whatever. On the 872S, it's similar. It's a little bigger. The gap is a smidge bigger on the 872S. I don't have the numbers in front of me. All right, let's talk about the casting. So this is the NRX Plus 873 right here, and this is the old NRX 873. Now, also on the handle front, they switched to the CI4 Plus Shimano handles that you can find in the Conquest as well. It's really similar to the X-Pride handle on the old X-Pride, except it's a little wider. So this is like Rev 2 of the CI4 Plus handles. So I'm guessing this is probably the same handle that's on the X-Pride, the new X-Prides. But anyway, great handle. I really like it. But the old handle on the old NRX Plus was fine too. So you were touching the blink. On the old NRX Plus, you were like literally hand was on the main part, the middle part of the blank. Whereas on the new one, it's exposed on the backside and you got like plastic on both sides here. They're both really comfortable. I have no problem with the old grip and the new grip is fine. It's just fine. Also, weight wise, these are both 3.9 ounces. There's no weight difference between the old 873C and the new 873C. So literally 3.9, 3.9. They weigh the exact same. Balance point wise, the new NRX Plus on the 873. Now this might be a rod to rod thing. I can't say this is going to be across the board with all the NRX casting models that have an old and a new. But the balance point on the NRX Plus is a little further back and in hand is noticeably better than the old one. So if you're a balance point stickler, these rods are so light that I don't think the balance point matters all that much on these, especially in hand. But in hand, if you put these both in your hand and you switch them back and forth, you can definitely feel that the NRX Plus is slightly better balanced. Like a little bit. It's noticeable. So that's on the plus column. Weight-wise, they're the same. Handle, both of them are good handles. The new handle, if you like the new handle, cool. And another thing, using these on the water, I dragged half-ounce football jigs with both of these, side by side. And sensitivity, the exact same. Feel on the water, the exact same. Like I said with the Spiral X on the spinning models, same deal goes for this. The NRX Plus version of these rods is a little more rigid. Now, it's only a little more rigid in comparison to the old one. So if you put them side by side and you bend them, you're going to feel the little teeny bit stiffer on the NRX Plus because of that Spiral X. And also it rebounds faster. So if you kind of wiggle it or you push it or you snap it and it comes back, the NRX Plus will rebound a little quicker. So on the water, they both cast about the same. Honestly, if you blindfolded me and didn't tell me which is which, and obviously you could tell by the handles, but like I wouldn't be able to tell you the dang difference between the NRX Plus and the old NRX on the 873. On the water performance, they both perform fantastically. There's not a major upgrade or change from the old to the new. So like I said, I would say if you can find great deals on the old NRXs, especially the casting model, go for it. Like, I don't think the NRX Plus are must-haves if you can find the old ones, or if you own the old ones, I don't think you have to rush out and upgrade. Now, some of the pluses in the NRX Plus line are not really represented in this video because they added a whole bunch of new rods. So there's the new MBRs, there's the new Ned rig rod, which is like super light, it's like a walleye stick. There's the new bladed jig rod. So there's new rods in the NRX lineup that are really cool, and some of these I want to get my hands on over the next year or two and play around with them. But I'm saying if you're like looking at the classics, like the 873, the 894, the 893, the 853, all these rods where there's an old version and a new version, just don't feel FOMO on having the NRX Plus versions if you already have a bunch of the old ones, because it's really not. They're not game changers. These NRX Pluses are not game changers. They are significantly retooled rods with Shimano parts into the Gloomis pipeline, which I think is a great thing, especially in the spinning rods. I think the spinning rods took a step forward with that new grip. Well, not new grip, but the Shimano grip, bringing them into the Loomis. So anyway, I hope this helps. I don't know if this video is really going to like move the needle on people who are out there shopping for NRX rods, because I think you can kind of like, if you're going to go out and buy an NRX, just go get the Plus if you can afford it, because you're getting the latest, greatest. The warranties are obviously fantastic. One thing I want to say real quick is the Shimano Expediter program. So if you accidentally break one of these rods, like you do what I did, is I actually shut the handle of one of these in a car door and I broke the butt of the rod. Loomis now is going to send you a new version of the rod if you fill out the Expediter website. They ship you a new version, and it'll be an NRX Plus in a tube, and then you pay $150. Then you put your broken one, send it back, and if they get the rod back, they don't charge you any more money. But if you don't send them the rod back, they will charge you the full amount for the remainder of the NRX Plus that they already sent you. So it's a great warranty program. I really like Loomis's warranty. It's really simple. And now that they just send you the rod, and then you send them back the broken one in the tube, you don't have to ship first. You can use their tube and send it back. I think it's great. So anyway, food for thought on the NRX Plus rods. I do like them. They're great. They're not a game changer, the best thing since sliced bread, versus the old ones, because the old ones were amazing as well. So if anyone's out there saying, oh, you got to get the NRX Plus, it's so much better, check who they're sponsored by, because the only people who are out there saying that these are like the you must have these are usually like the Shimano, the people in the Shimano bullpen, put it that way. So anyway, if you made it this far in the video, please hit like and subscribe, and check me out on Instagram. I am at Punch Fishing. So until the next video, I will see you all. I'll see you all soon.